Hello everybody and welcome to my weekly vlog. It's going to be a standard one this week. I'm going to do some Patron shoutouts for my supporters last month. I'm going to go through the questions on last week's video and briefly go over some new stuff you're going to be seeing on the channel, or you may have seen by the time this goes live. I don't think so. Well, you've seen Transformers Devastation, obviously. A fantastic game, great combat mechanics, but the look of it, I can't believe how spot on they have the 80s cartoon look down. And I know people who weren't alive back then don't really get why that's so important, that they've managed to accurately recreate how it looks. I mean, obviously some of the episodes back then were really dodgy looking because it was early days of cartoons, but if you look at something like the 80s movie, the 86 or whatever year it was it got released, that they kind of made a better effort with the animation and the animation quality. That's what they've kind of mimicked. It's also very nice that they got back most of the cast that are still alive. So Optimus Prime is Peter Cullen, Megatron is Frank Welker, Bumblebee is, I can never remember his name, and Sideswipe is Alexander Bell. They couldn't get Starscream's guy back because he's passed away. Also, I think I covered this in like a Rebirth run randomly, or maybe it was during the playthrough of the last Transformers game. What was that? Rise of the Darkspark, was it that one? The awful one? A lot of the cast of the cartoon quit during G2, which was post the 80s movie, because they did a very insensitive episode about a made-up Middle Eastern nation called Carbomia, and some of the ethnic members of the cast were incredibly insulted by such a tacky, horrible thing, and they quit. So they definitely weren't coming back either way, even though some of them are still alive at least. I think one of the people who did quit was the person who voiced Shaggy in Scooby-Doo and whatnot, and he passed away last year, if I remember correctly. But anyway, let's not start with a downer like that. The game itself is very fun. If you didn't like Transformers or weren't alive for that iteration of the cartoon, would you still find enjoyment in it, given that it plays a lot like Bayonetta and Revengeance? I think so. If you're into your spectacle brawlers, then it's definitely competent. And it's fun. But if nothing else, you can watch me play it if you aren't willing to pay the price for it. So anyway, thank you to the following people who supported my channel last month via Patreon. By the way, there's a change coming to Patreon soon-ish, I'm hearing on the grapevine, where you are charged at the point you become a patron, rather than at month's end. Why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because there is a loophole in the system currently, and it's always been like this, and I've known about it, but I don't really like mentioning it because it encourages people to be dicks. If you pledge to be a patron, you will get access to all the patron exclusive stuff. You can go back and see all the posts and whatnot, all the videos, and then when it comes to the end of the month, you can still choose not to pay. And then you've seen all the stuff that's supposed to be for the people who actually try and help you for free, which is a scummy thing to do, but people will do it, and people do it on the bigger Patreon pages. So they're changing it, so you have to give up the money first. You still get all the features and whatnot, but it just means you can't skimp out after getting stuff for free that normally is for people who are willing to put up a little bit of money to support people they like. So if that is something you don't want to do, as in paying up front for the month, obviously you can just cancel. But that's a change that's coming at some point in the future. I don't know when. Hopefully that's just a dog barking randomly and not me having to answer the door. I'm expecting a parcel. I'm waiting for a second in case there's a sudden knock on the door because I'll have to do a break. She's jumping at the window, so it could be a postman. I don't want to do shoutouts while she's barking. That's definitely the postman, but it sounds like I'm not getting anything. Damn, I was expecting something. Anyway, thank you to the following people, and also video dedications will now, for this month, start happening. Apropos of nothing, Carnaires, Greg the Howler, Taya Blake, Matsumuni, Yuki, Coulson, Terravolt, Good Rory, Nick Galodi, Michael Smith, Thaxton, Nick M, Grant Doty, Soul Food, Jason Anino, Andy Volcano, Amy Spain, Ryan Sadowski, Lenore, Fraser Macbeth, Casper MH, James Kilgore, Terrell Smith, and of course, that one guy with the face, which is still the best name. And let me just mark off that I have remembered to do that. There will also be Twitter shoutouts for those getting those, and as I just said, dedications will be happening. I never know where to do them because I'm not sure who watches what series. Like, I know I can't do a Dragonakis patron shoutout in a Monster Hunter video because he doesn't watch those, but for everybody else I'm not entirely sure. So if you don't ever see one, chances are I did it in a video that I thought you'd watch but you didn't. If you want me to mention you in a specific series, just send me a message on Patreon and I'll do it. Anyway, let's go to the comments. Start at the bottom. Well, the very first one was Kensik, who says first. I'll thumb that up, but normally I don't condone that sort of thing. The next one is from Samuel Fothergill? Fothergill, I think that's how you would pronounce that. Pardon me, saying I think I need this hoodie, not this one, the one I was wearing last week, which is there. I have a Pandaren hoodie from WoW, and that has ears. I prefer cats to pandas anyway, and the paws would probably help in the winter, so that's cool. Speaking of the winter, it has been bloody freezing here the last couple of days, even though it's quite sunny, as I'm sure you can tell. It's just so cold. It's getting into winter weather. I'm going to have to start eating porridge again and wearing woolen boots and all that nonsense. You'll probably see me wearing hoodies in videos more often. Daigle1 says, yay, I was mentioned. Well, you were mentioned again, so there you go. Like a John, flick buying clothes which are usually seen cosplayers, girls, and that creepy guy who repairs your TVs since 19 ? Do you have a story about you getting your TV repaired once and the person who repairs it coming to visit your house and cosplay? Because if you do, I really want to hear it, because that sounds odd as hell. Unless it's a Japanese thing, like, hey, if you pay extra to get your TV repaired, the repairman will dress up as Mario. That actually sounds like something Nintendo would do. Do not share that idea with them. Aston Castellanos is next. Caravaneer, Hunter, fight 2 Black Gravios. Also, they are infected with the virus again. Flick, no, I will fight 2 Acantors or 3 Pink Rathians, but I'm not doing that again. That's an accurate summation of my opinion of G-Rank Black Gravioses in Monster Hunter. I despise them. Speaking of which, I've got a Monster Hunter night tonight. It's going to be back to the usual grind now until such time as either Cross comes out or there's some kind of Cross demo. There was another Capcom Direct live stream on YouTube recently, a couple of days ago. They showed off some new Nyunter gameplay. It was 1 player being a hunter and then 3 people playing as cats, showing off the Popodrome flagship monster a little bit. It was fine. There was no new information, sadly, but you got to see how Palicos play. They went into detail about they're not as strong as hunters. They are there for support. They get those nuts to kind of come back instantly if they get dead, or they can hide underground for, it looked like, an indefinite amount of time actually. But obviously you don't want to stay underground the whole time, because then you're not being helpful at all, like normal cats. Todd Sivers next, saying you can't buy DVDs, question mark. Does Europe have a grudge against them? No, but DVDs are region locked, whereas the Blu-ray for Rick and Morty this is in relation to, it was region free, so it didn't matter that it was an American DVD. Also, when you do end up streaming, are you going to upload a stream or 2 to your channel, or are they going to be 2 separate things? And if you're looking for content, maybe you could record a few runs of Warhammer. It might bring some new people, because it seems Warhammer is making a comeback. I don't think Warhammer is making a comeback. Also, do you mean Warhammer, like, well, it's now called Age of Sigmar, but that is god awful. Do you mean Fantasy Warhammer, or do you mean Warhammer 40k? Because I absolutely disagree. Games Workshop is pushing their 40k crowd out by constantly raising prices, and also they recently discovered what DLC is. So now every 6 months to a year they recycle the rules, because, or the individual rules for an army, or they bring out a new expansion to force you to keep on buying stuff. And you know, when I was a kid I had to stop collecting 40k because I couldn't afford it. It got too expensive for a kid to be able to keep up with. I'm an adult now, I have a job, and 40k is still too expensive for me to justify buying stuff. Now that said, I did actually give in the other day there, because Tower are getting some new releases and they're mech suits, and I love mech suits. I'm not getting the Forge World one I linked on Twitter, by the way. That's from Forge World and it costs £250, which is fucking ridiculous. But I did manage to get the, I wanted to show it, that's what I'm expecting in the mail. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the Storm Surge or something. The new Tau suit. It's their first Lord of War that's official, not Forge World, which doesn't really concern me because I don't really play the game anymore. It's more for painting and having a giant mech suit. It's got all the guns ever. It'll make orcs everywhere exceptionally jealous. They're retailing it for 90 quid. Now thankfully I was able to find it for just under 70 with free postage, but they're pushing everyone out. I can't imagine, like, I started collecting 40k at like 13, you know, early teens. I wouldn't have a playable army until I'd invested like 500 quid. You don't have that kind of money when you're a child. It's ridiculous. So no, I absolutely disagree. I think maybe the games, as in like digital games, they're getting a resurgence because people can't afford the actual game, so they'll play video game versions, you know, like recently Regicide, Vermintide, which I hope you've been enjoying as well. So I think maybe in the digital game sense, Warhammer and 40k will be getting a bit of a comeback, but the games themselves absolutely not. Also, Age of Sigmar is kind of like generally despise, because they didn't even bother making coherent rules. The rules for Age of Sigmar are just kind of like, do what you want, which is not an effective way to do things. But they don't care, as long as they keep on forcing their wealthier customers to keep on buying new rules every 6 months. It's keeping them afloat, and that's all that matters to them. Did you ask something else? Oh yeah, about streaming. It depends where I'm streaming. Like I've mentioned this a few times, there's certain games I wouldn't mind playing on stream that I wouldn't be able to put on YouTube due to, you know, content ID abuse from people like Nintendo or Konami. But yeah, I would do some stuff that would be stream only if I was on Twitch or, you know, just via Steam streaming. Most of the time, ideally, I'll stick the VODs on YouTube. That's the plan. I still have no word on when my particular box that goes to the exchange for the village is being updated. It could be literally months still. So I'm trying to temper my expectations a little bit, but obviously I'll let everybody know when I know. So the next comment is from Alucard Games, who says, Bravely Default was one of the best RPGs I personally have played in a long time. The jobs allowed for a very expensive parry system. I've been playing it on and off, but I've been bogged down by quite a few other things I'm trying to play at the moment, including the Star Wars Battlefront beta, which you should see a video on. I tried it for the first time last night and I didn't know whether I'd like it or not, so I was recording myself playing it but not talking. So I think I can do a Let's Look At, but I'm going to have to do post commentary over it and just talk about my feelings on it. So that should be coming at some point once I get around to recording myself talking over it. I've been itching for RPG Maker MV for a long time, however I don't know if I can pay $80 for it. It's definitely not something you would just use for fun. I think it's an investment in something you will actually use to produce something either for free or for fun, or, well, not for fun because that contradicts the first thing I said. It's a practical bit of software to make genuine product, but you can always get it in a sale as well eventually if you're just going to use it for fun. Flick streaming kind of sounds like a cup of tea that refills itself. It's insta win. I can agree with that. By the way, these are all like bullet points, that's why I'm kind of going through them like that. Dogs no equivalent exchange. Holy crap, dogs are alchemists. Maya will be known from henceforth as World Eater Alchemist. You got the reference I was going for when I said that. As for a Halloween game, why not do a little costume quest? Isn't that an RPG based on Halloween? It's a Tim Schafer game and I despise him, so absolutely not. I've tried to watch other YouTubers, however I find that your semi-professional attitude is somehow lacking in other channels. I look forward to seeing your future content. Cheers! Thank you very much. I like that you said I was semi-professional. That's a nice touch. I do have moments of unprofessionalism. That's not a word. Case in point, I guess. Another comment from Aston says, also Flick, will you fight 2 Pink Rathians that are infected or fight 2 Acantors that are infected? This is a death wish. I imagine that Acantors can be infected with the virus and normally they can't. I would rather fight the Pink Rathians because I know how to handle them, assuming I can pick my weapon. And it would be Gunlance, and I'd be using infinite stamina. Iron Paladin for the first time in a long time. Hey Flick, I'm not dead. At least I don't think I am. Anyway, I wanted your advice, so I was thinking about getting The Binding of Isaac on 3DS, but I heard vague rumours of it being broken to hell, but I'm still tempted. Your thoughts? Well, for one, it doesn't work on 3DS. You have to have a new 3DS for it to work. 2, yes, it is a broken mess, and they have no plans of fixing it until after Afterbirth's release. They are treating it as a cash-in, much like the Vita version, which has still not had a horrible darkness bug fix for Curse of Darkness. I would say avoid, if possible, until such time as you know they've fixed those glitches. There's also glitches in the 3DS, the new 3DS version, where certain things will not unlock, including 4th level, it's either Cube of Meat or Bandage Girl. So can you imagine getting the rare occurrence of that happening and you not getting credited? That would make me go insane, considering how long I've been trying for 4th level Bandage Girl now. So now we have 2 comments from Jimmy92750. The first one is, Flick, are these uploaded on the day they are recorded? No, they are not. The earliest I record one of these in advance is the Thursday before the Monday it's due. Usually it's the Friday or Saturday I record it though. Case in point, the last few and this one. This is Saturday, today, that I'm recording this, so you'll be seeing this 2 days later. Tonight is Midsummer Night. That's it. That's the answer to your question. And your other one is, dragons in Skyrim, dragons compared to Dark Souls dragons. Skyrim dragons are My Little Pony. I would agree that dragons in Skyrim are fairly easy, especially when compared to Dark Souls dragons. And in Skyrim they had that tacky thing where if you were below 50% HP at any point while fighting them, they could just get a random roll to insta-kill you by picking you up and eating you. Which always sucked, because it meant you had to make sure your HP was above 50%. Next is 2 comments from Red, and then 2 comments from Jason and Nino. What's with all the double posting, people? Since dogs know equivalent exchange, does that mean that all dogs are secretly alchemists? I can't tell you, or you will know too much. Also, damn, I think YouTube got rid of my comments for a name for your look-ats. I read out someone's suggestion last week. Was that you? I can't remember. Feel free to do it again. I'm planning on doing the rebranding if indeed it happens in the new year, so you've got time. So the two comments, what the hell was comments? To end on are from Jason. One says you could hide cans and snacks in those ears of your hood. It would be like a beer hat but with ears. I don't think they're big enough for that unless it was very, very small cans of juice. Oh, hang on a minute. I just realised your comment posted twice because the next comment is exactly the same. Well, as I said, I think the ears are too small to hide something in, but that's okay. But that's going to do it. That is all the comments. I think I covered everything I wanted to. Let me just check my uploads. Covered Transformers Devastation. I briefly mentioned there will be some kind of video on Star Wars Battlefront. There's a couple, I think there's one more Vermintide going up. Yeah, because they extended the beta a little bit. And they also made the game a lot harder. It is a lot harder. So they must have listened to feedback on that. And that's about it. As far as variety on the channel goes right now, I've got a lot of stuff I've been meaning to do. Let's look at all. I just need to find the time. I'm also putting a lot of time into the, well, RPG Maker MV to have something ready to show by the end of the month. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, the City Skylines expansion After Dark. I had to start a new city and the expansion doesn't really do anything for the early game, it only does it for the late game. So I'm trying to play in my spare time getting to a late game city, which is taking literally hours, so I'm not sure when that'll happen. But I'm not really feeling many changes from the expansion in the early game, which may be a detriment to its value, because it is a pretty pricey expansion, I must say. And I am still looking at a few indie games that I hopefully will do some coverage of. Oh, and Fallout, of course, is continuing for patrons, early episodes every second episode, and that will change to Fallout 4 come November. So that's going to do it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.